All right, there we go. All right, welcome back, everybody, to Coffee and Art in the Morning. I'm Dee Dee, and we're moving on now to color books and calligraphy. All right, first off, I only bought one new color book. And speaking of color books, on my Facebook, if you go to my Facebook, Dee Dee Willingham, I have a public album that, well, all my art I think is public, but they're just divided up in different albums. So when you go to someone's photos on Facebook, if they have an album, you have to go to albums. And then under albums, you'll find the things that are either for friends or public or whatever. But over the weekend, a wee hootie, it was so funny because she was awake at 1 o'clock in the morning. I think it was Friday night. Was it Friday night or Saturday night? I forgot. Anyway, one of those 2 nights I couldn't sleep. I woke up like at 1 o'clock in the morning and I made my Facebook color book album. And wee Hootie was going, I'm awake. she was awake while I was posting a album. And also Vicky BR has got a color book album now as well. So anyway, this is the only new book that I bought color book wise. Anamorphia. Love this book. I have started base coating quite a few of the animals, and I've only actually completed one double page spread. I will be posting all the color book pages that I do in my color book album on Facebook. And I post them on Twitter and Instagram and everything too, but they're all gathered together in a Facebook album. So anyway, I love this book. Oh, good, Vicky. Sorry, guys, I got incoming mail. I froze for a second there. Anyway, I really love this book, but I have posted a bunch of all the different color books that I've shown y'all. I've posted all those, but I did come out and find this one was in with my calligraphy stuff. The Celtic Design Coloring Book, again, it's a Dover. I'm not sure when it came out. Let's see here. It's 1979. So, yeah. As you can see, some of these I've had for a long time. Back, this is before, and I say before computers, I don't mean before mainframes. I just mean before we all had desktops and were able to, print out our own color book, clip art kind of thing. But anyway, this one was in with my calligraphy books, which I will be sharing some calligraphy books. Now, I do have the hardback Celtic coloring book. I'm not going to go through it. I'll show it to you real quick. It's one of those art therapy hardback ones. This is probably the most expensive color book I have. It was $19.99. And it has 100 designs, the Art Therapy Celtic. Nice, heavy-duty paper. It's a good quality book. And art therapy has different ones at Paisley and all different kinds of topics. But I bought this one because I love Celtic design, because I love calligraphy and illuminated letters and all that. So anyway, this one was just mixed in there with my calligraphy books, and I'm going to show y'all some of those. But these designs have been around forever. They're pretty much copyright free for anybody, I mean, you can't really put a copyright on, those old. Hey there, Christy. Anybody else popping in? So I will be posting. I'll probably color one of these and maybe post a picture of this particular book. I think I put all my color books in my Facebook color book album, but this one, like I said, I came across last night when I was pulling out all my calligraphy books, and I am not showing you all my calligraphy books. I pulled out one shelf of calligraphy books to show y'all, and I won't be going in depth. I'm not going to do reviews on the books. I'm just going to kind of show y'all what some of the things that are available. Some are very old that I've had forever. Some are newer, but I haven't really bought too many calligraphy books in recent days because I don't do it professionally anymore like I did back in the 80s. And so I'm not really now I'm collecting color books. Okay, let's just say it as it is. I am now collecting coloring books. Hey, Moomy. All right, so this is one, and I will show you the page that I finished. Now, let me go ahead and preface this by saying I'm not using any markers in here because markers would go through. Maybe some of the water-based ones would not. Definitely, anytime you're going to use alcohol markers like Copics or anything like that, you're going to need to make a copy of your page and do it separately because it will bleed through. Okay, almost every single color book you have is not going to hold up to a Copic marker. It will hold up to some of the water, some watercolor and some stuff that won't bleed through. However, and I knew this when I started, I'm doing washes of paint. I'm doing washes of acrylic paint, and I'm using just my same old favorite Americana paints. But I'm doing washes of paint as a base for a lot of the animals, and I knew I was going to wrinkle them, and I don't care. Okay, just saying, if you care, if your pages are going to wrinkle slightly because you're using a lot of water, to do a wash, then don't do that, because I've talked about that before. If you don't want any kind of wrinkling when you use your acrylic paints, you can't add water to them. Same thing if you're going to use, and I'm talking large areas. You can do like the little clothing on the kimonos and stuff like we did last week. You can use your watercolors, your neo colors, and watered down acrylics just fine on little bitty areas, okay? But I wanted to do big, large washes of these animals. So it did wrinkle, and I knew it would, which, like I said, it didn't bother me in this case, okay? Oh, you'll have to do a video on that. My Fairy Treasures, Angie Bell, said that she received her Anna Griffin coloring books from HSN that everybody tried to get me to buy. And she's asking if I'm Jello. Not yet, but I might be after you show them, Angie, when you do a video on them. Hey, Ash. Okay, so anyway, I'll show you the one that I have completed. And then I'll show you the ones I've done washes on. Now they're buckling, but it's not like they're totally warped. Okay, I mean, but I can see the wrinkles. You may not be able to. But here's the double page spread that I finished. This is the only completed one that I've done. I just got this book on Friday. Okay, and so anyway, the black is all painted in. I painted that in an acrylic. I did white acrylic stars. Okay, this is all a base coat of yellow acrylic paint gone over and shadowed with color pencil. So again, the washes in this case are my acrylic, my Americana acrylic watered down. All right, so I did a wash, and then I added color pencil on top of all the shading and everything. This is all color pencil. All the detail, all the shading. This is all color pencil, okay? All color pencil shaded detail. This is base coated with acrylic black and acrylic yellow, and then a wash of lime green and a wash of light blue, and then gone over with color pencils. And I use Prismacolor color pencils. You can use whatever you can afford. I cannot afford the Luminesse, the Caran d'Ache Luminesse. But, those, according to Kathy Cass, are amazing. So just whatever you can afford, all right? I did the different shades of trees. This is all in a little bit of a lime green wash, and then all shaded with color pencil. So just so you can kind of see some of the, again, I did post close-up pictures of this on Twitter, Instagram, and in my color book Facebook album, which again is public. Anybody can go just to Dee Dee Willingham and go into my albums, and my color book, I think my art album, my Gold Rush portraits. I really do want to make an individual people portrait album and a pet portrait album. I just haven't got to do that yet. So this is the only double page spread that I have finished. Susan says she tried them at a retreat and they're softer than Prismacolors, so I don't need them. Yeah, we always say we don't need it, right, Susan? I know. All right, so let me go ahead and show you. I'm not going to probably show you every single page in this book, but I'll show you the ones that I have started doing a wash on. So here again, this is 2 shades of wash of acrylic paint. Let's see, this one, and I think yellow ochre. So for instance, raw sienna and butterscotch, or it might have been yellow ochre. I can't remember. They're close in color. And all I would do is just squeeze out a little bit. On my palettes are just coffee lids like this. Squeeze a little bit out and add a minimum amount of water. The less water you can add, the better. However, when you're using acrylic paints, they're opaque. So if you don't wash them out, if you don't add water to them, they're not going to be translucent, and you're just going to be covering up the dots. You know, for instance, the black, you'll just be covering it completely up. So if that's the case and you don't have color, you can just use watercolors. Use your Neo colors, your kids' watercolor sets. If you just want to do an underbase of a wash before you start coloring in details, but it will wrinkle. It did buckle my pages some, but again, in this case, I knew it was going to do that, but I'm worked with it. Okay, so let me show you a couple, and it has a place where this, so you can kind of see a little bit of wrinkle, see? But by the time I go to do this page, I just doesn't bother me in this case, but it may bother you to have wrinkly pages. So be warned. Don't say Dee Dee said to go put a wash of watercolor, a wash of acrylic watered down paint, and not have it wrinkle. You have been warned. Okay. All right, so I'm just going to probably do a little flip through. Again, there's so much little tiny details. There's all these little kind of cartoon characters and little doodle characters, along with the realistic looking main focal animal. Okay. So I'm just going to kind of do a flip through here so you can kind of see again. So you can kind of see how it kind of buckled right there, right? It's just that's my underpainting of a wash. Now I'll go back on here with color. Now I won't do washes in all these tiny little bits. That will all be hand colored with colored pencil. But on the big animal, I wanted an underpainting of a wash of a main color to have to work with. I hope y'all are kind of getting what I'm talking about. Okay. There's a parrot. Now, this is the one thing I have heard a complaint on this particular book is that it's in the crevice. They do have the image right in the in the spine. So that's a little tricky. I gotta say, that is a little tricky. Some things are left for you to finish yourself, like the Zentangle or doodle in. I love that rhino. And again, this what I'll do, maybe I'll show that. I'll do like a wash here in a gray, a couple of grays, so you can see just how I do it. All right, so maybe let me put a Post-it note on that. We'll do that particular one after I finish showing you this. And then what I wanted to do was do some calligraphy in my new art, my unused cut down art scroll, the other half. We filled the other half. So I'm starting a new art scroll, and I thought I'd start with some calligraphy. So doing some lettering and stuff. One of the things that really convinced me to try to do some calligraphy here is the brown paper. When we did last week, we did the prompt jar scroll thing, and we pulled out thing and it said to do something with lettering, so I did some calligraphy on the brown paper, and it doesn't flash out like the white paper. So I said, well, maybe I'll do some calligraphy, some illuminated letters, and some coloring of illuminated letters on the craft paper, and you will be able to see the letter forms. And again, I'm out of practice, guys, but we'll practice together. All right, so back to the color book. If y'all have any questions, put them in caps. All right, so here again is a wash of these cheetahs. Another page of, that's a peacock, and you're supposed to fill in his tail feathers. So I'm just going to quickly flip through here. There's a zebra. It's an amazing book, guys. It truly is amazing. And it's put out by Michael R. O'Mara Publishers out of UK. And I did follow Kirby Rosanes. I think he's out of the Philippines, I think. Yeah, Philippines. I think he's out of Philippines. So I follow both of those on Twitter as well. Again, there's just a couple of light washes on the lion. See how it kind of buckled? So just be aware, if you don't want your pages buckling, don't do this technique. Okay? Here's a whale that I've washed out. You know, put a wash on. Let's see what else. 2 octopi that I've just put some wash on. And all that does, basically, guys, it does a couple things. To me, I like an underpainting on it. I like that effect. I like it being under the color. I like the way color pencil goes on top of acrylic paint. So, and plus it makes it easy to find all those legs. Again, here's the one that I finished. Do I have anything else? Oh, here's some snakes that acrylic paint. So there's so many. There's 1, 2, 4, wait, 3 snakes? 3 or 4 in there anyway. So it's an acrylic paint wash. Again, what is nice, let me just get a pencil here to show you. Let me find a kind of a light green gray. Hang on, guys. I need to resort my pencils. Okay. So for instance, on this acrylic right here, okay, where that's acrylic paint right there, with a color pencil, it will so go on there, and that's probably not going to show up. Let me get a lighter color. I can see it, but it's not going to show up to you guys. Let me just get a tan color to show you so it'll show up. When you start to highlight or shade, see how the pencil just goes so nice over that? So when you have an acrylic base, that's the kind of effect you can get. And quickly. Okay, you can't get this kind of, and then I would go in here and shade with the darker green. You can't get it that quick with just a white page. Okay, so that's why I love pencils on top of acrylic. Now again, let me say this, I use just flat matte craft paint. If you start using shiny professional artist grade or gloss, maybe even satin, I haven't tried satin, and it probably would have the same effect as gloss, you're not going to get that. You have to have the matte. Yeah, it gives it a bit of tooth. Exactly, Moomy. It gives it tooth. Plus a color, you know. It's tooth like you might get with a gesso, but it's a color. So you can build on top of the color of acrylic paint. Okay? Again, just the cheap craft paints. It doesn't have to be Americana. I just like Americana because it has a lot of cool colors. But whatever you can get. But get the cheap kind that's not satin or artist grade with all the, you know, shine and stuff to it. Okay? So, all right, any other questions? Jean's talking about her Thanksgiving leftovers. Okay, so let me just continue to flip through here. I've got the little bit of roosters started here on this one, just a bit of stuff. But look, see that little rocket ship? See, it has a little rocket ship doodle in there. It's just so cute. Again, here is a wash of lime green and a little bit of red. And then I can go in there and see, I can go in there and blend in with color pencil. It just gives you another effect. However, remember, with these large areas and you're doing a wash, It will wrinkle your paper. Oh, Eileen, look away. I forgot about the flamingos. Yeah, so you can see the pink, and then I'll go in there, like, let me get a white. Let me get a, but you can get in there and it will go, the white will work right on top. See how nice that looks? It's because it gave, like Moomy said, it gave it some tooth. All right, so there we go. Let's go ahead and flip through. And then at the back, they have hidden things. All these things are hidden throughout the book. Like there, look, there's the rocket that was on the rooster page. She's awake now, yeah. So you're supposed to find all these hidden things, and then they have the answers in the back. Okay, so I love this book. I am actually thinking of, this is the only book I think I've ever thought about buying twice because I like it that much. All right. So let me quickly show you real quick. I'm going to do a wash on this rhino, and then we're going to go into the calligraphy segment. So we're going to call this Color Books and Calligraphy. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to get out like a couple shades of gray here. This one is, you don't need much. That's even too much. This is slate gray. And then let's see. Let me come over here to my cart. You know what I think I'm going to do? I think I'm going to put in a little blue. I think I'm going to go ahead and put in a little blue harbor because that'll give it a blue and a gray. So I'll just put them side by side and kind of pick them both up off and on together. All right. And then what I do is I get just a kind of a, you know, wide brush like this. Always wet your brush before you put it in acrylic paint, and I just damp it off. Okay. And I'm just going to kind of mix those colors. All right. Now I'm going to add a little bit of water. And again, this is about the only time I add water to my acrylic paints in any kind of depth, is to make, you know, a wash. It will wrinkle your page, okay? So I've mixed those two to kind of make a blue-gray, and then I'm just going to kind of wash it off. And then what I'm going to do is just test it out, and I might add a little bit more water. And all I am is just kind of base coat. I'm not trying to be careful. Maybe down here's a little more shadow, so it might be a little bit thicker. Paint down in here. But you don't want to cover up. The reason you're doing a wash is so you don't cover up the ink lines. Okay, I'll add a little bit of water to the side here. Okay, too much paint because it's covering up, so I'll just add a little bit of water, and I'm just doing a wash over the whole thing. Now you got to be kind of quick because it does sink in. So you got to kind of be quick about it, or you're going to have streaks. So you got to kind of be quick, thin down, water down. Okay, and I am being quick. Notice I'm not going in those lines. I'm not trying to color this in those lines. I'm just doing a wash, okay? Just doing a wash. And you have to be quick, or you're going to have, it'll separate, you know, it won't blend out smoothly. Okay, so you got to kind of be quick. I just want a wash. I'm not trying to color this in like I will with color pencils. This is where you can get down there in the little crevice down there. So you can see I'm not being overly careful. I'm just kind of seeing where it ends. If it gets a little bit on top of that bird or whatever, I don't worry about that because I'll color that in later. All right, so this is just a quick wash on the rhino. Might be a little bit more back here. We'll stop right there. Oh wait, I do want to do his chin. Let me do that in a little bit bluer gray down in here. Just went off the edge, but I'm going to color the background anyway, so I don't really care. All right, there we go. All right, so can you see? I don't know if it shows up, but it's kind of a bluey, purpley. Yeah. Well, you could use watercolors. Here's what again, the reason I like the acrylic, it gives it tooth. It gives it a little bit of a grab to your color pencils. Some of the watercolors will probably do that too, like your kids' cheap ones will have a chalkiness to them. Your neo colors, it's not going to give it the same, it'll give it some, but won't give it the same. So you can practice. Just go on the back page, you know, or even just a little something and try it. Let it dry. Do some tests. Do some with acrylic. Like do one with an acrylic wash. Do one with an acrylic no water. Do one with watercolor. Do one with markers, which give you no tooth. The markers are like, there's no tooth to the markers. But a Neocolor will give you a little bit. So just do you a little chart with just take one color and do you a little chart with all your different under mediums, whether it's a marker, water-based, or a Copic, which you can't really use a Copic in your color books. You'd have to make a separate copy to use Copics, so that then you don't care if it goes through because it's on a copy, but you don't want to use a Copic on your book because then the page behind is obviously ruined. But then do your markers, your Neocolors, your acrylic paint, your kids' watercolors, your nice watercolors, your ink tints, whatever you use. Do a little chart for yourself to see what happens when you put color pencil. Yeah, but that's a good question, Susan. I'm glad you asked so I can over-explain again. Y'all know me and over-explaining. Although I gotta say, I do get people commenting that they're glad I over-explain, because a lot of people, you guys are here all the time. You all hear me say the same things all the time, but, people are watching the recordings. They don't watch every day like you guys do, every show, every live show. And so they don't see those same answers 100 times like you guys do. I love you too, Susan. So anyway, so there you go. And again, another important point, this has to be 100% dry, either with your heat gun or hair dryer, whatever you have, or just let it sit. It has to be 100% dry before you go in here with color pencil, or you'll just dig right through that paper with your color pencil. You might even just take the top layer of paper off with your color pencil. Make sure, I can't stress that enough. Of course, if you do it one time, that'll be the only time you ever do it. Put a hole through your paper because it's wet. You have to make sure this is 100% dry before you start trying to shade with color pencil. Okay? All right. So there we go on that. Let me move the color books off to the side. And now what I want to do is just kind of do a little bit of review on a few of my favorite calligraphy books. Again, I'm way out of practice in calligraphy. You probably could see me doing, say, oh, that's really good. But I know when I used to do professional calligraphy, see, this is why I don't wear bracelets. But I love this one because Boo made it for me. How out of practice I am with my calligraphy. Okay, so I'm going to go through a couple of different kinds. I've kind of tried to divide them up a little bit between calligraphy and hand lettering. Lettering doesn't necessarily, even though calligraphy means like beautiful letters, beautiful writing actually, and hand lettering is beautiful writing too. It's usually there's a distinction between calligraphy and fancy letters and stuff like that. And the different things between the fonts and typography and all the different, I won't get into all that today. I'm just going to show you some calligraphy books, okay? All right, let me take a sip of coffee. And I'm going to start with some of the calligraphy ones, and I'll move into some of that kind of crossover between lettering, illuminated letters. They all kind of crosses over. Yeah, Vicki has colored, either say it mandala or mandala. I'm not sure how, different people pronounce it a different way, but it's all the geometric designs. And Vicki BR has an amazing collection of mandalas that she colored in an album on Facebook. Oh my gosh, amazing work, Vicki. To me, coloring mandalas is the patience of Job. Just saying. Those things take, no, I haven't really made me a computer font Whippy Carol. I know you can. You can make your own fonts with your own hand lettering and all that. No, I haven't done that. All right, so let me go ahead and show you some calligraphy books. Again, I only pulled out one shelf. I've got tons of calligraphy books over the years, and I'll try to like at least tell you the date of publication. Most of these, if not all of them, you can probably find on Amazon. I need something here to keep that focus. I'm not going to give ISBN numbers, but I'll try to tell you the publisher, the author, and maybe the date of publication. But I've probably got 20 books here at least to show, so I'm going to kind of try to whip through them, not too quick, but you know what I mean, Vern? All right, so again, I love anything Celtic, and I've gone through this one and this one quite often. These are how to do Celtic lettering, knotting. And so this one is actually George Bain. I think he's kind of like the father and the expert on how to do Celtic art. Again, this was first published way back in 1951 in UK. It was first published in 1951. But he's the one that pretty much did all the research, the history, he'll take you from 5 dots to a full knot. But this is not for the faint of heart. This is for someone that really wants to be dedicated to understanding the Celtic knotting and this is not for just your average hobbyist, okay? I'm just saying, you really have to want to study it to actually get out of all his years of research and forms and the charts and the patterns. But it's an awesome book. I'm telling you, it's an awesome, awesome book, even if you just want inspiration. But he's got the whole history. He's got, the whole history of it. Very, very detailed. All the patterns, everything that he probably knew about it. And then, of course, the letter forms as well. We're probably going to do something like these type of letters today. To start with, something like that. I mean, just, as a kind of a calligraphy start thing, something like that. I've got tons of these kind of books on all different kind of letter forms. Here's the knot work in the illuminated letters. It's just an awesome, awesome book. Again, it's now put out by Dover. And when I bought it was $9.95. I don't know what it is now. And the Dover publication, where's the Dover? It's not saying here. 1973. Dover put it out in 1973. Okay, again, awesome. And I'm sure they're on Amazon, but I haven't looked in any kind of, I'll just kind of hold it there for a second. So if you want to see that. And the other one, this is a more recent one, and it's the Crafter's Design Library. This is how to use your Celtic knotting in much more simplified versions in different art projects. So if you want to do a little bit of Celtic knotting, but not really into the history of it or so detailed, this book right here has, it has the clip art, your patterns, so that you can work from these patterns and do projects with them, okay? And it's on the slick paper here, so if you want to do any kind of color book, anything with these, you'd have to copy these, because you can't color on a slick. Well, you can with markers, but, these are more reference books. So just so you can kind of see, this is better for if you want to use in just, a little bit of forms, and there's the zoomorphic, they have the lettering back here, and there are actual color books. Like I said, I came across this particular one with these books that I've completely forgot I had, this Dover one, and this one came out in 1979, and I know Dover republishes them, especially now that color books are so popular. This is the one you use, Eileen? Yeah, it's awesome. It's got more than you'll ever use in a lifetime unless you want to go into researching. You know what I mean? This has just got plenty of inspiration, and anything you would need just for the designs itself. And again, I will be probably coloring something out of here and posting something, because this is the only book I think that I have not posted in my color book album on Facebook, so I'll have to post that. So I'll set that to the side. Okay, so let's move on to a couple more. Let's just get first into some basic calligraphy. Your standard calligraphy techniques and lessons, okay? David Harris, he's got a few books out by him. Let's see, who's this one? Has, you know, and again, I can't speak to how long I've had them, because they're all, I don't file these in my shelf by date. I file my books by topic. So all my calligraphy books, illuminated letters, they're all together. But I just tried to pick out some that I thought were the most useful. Okay, so there's my, this was a gift. All right, let's see here. When was this one published? 1995. And this is a hardback. I think Hubster bought this for me as a birthday gift in 1995. And so it's probably in soft cover now. And again, what's nice about this is very, it takes you through all the different kinds of letters, different types of letters here, and how to do the strokes, okay? But it also has, you know, different kinds of inspiration, a little bit of history of each of the different types of letter forms, and, you know, different old parchments. And if y'all ever get a chance, I got a chance to see the J.P. Morgan collection probably about 25 years ago when it came to the museum. And if you ever get to see original calligraphy in the prayer books, or on, you know, the if you get to see any of that in person, please try to go see it. It will, books do not do it justice. They actually glow. I can't describe it any better than that. The parchment, the kinds of inks that they used, whether it be, you know, the grounds, you know, from bugs, or whether it's from soil, you know, whatever the different things that they use to make the inks with. And the gold, the illuminated, where they use gold leafing and all. The parchments, they actually glow. I'm not kidding. When I say they glow, you see these books open and you almost can see light literally shining off of them. So if you ever get a chance to see these books in person, you know, from the 4th, 5th, 6th century books, go look at them if you ever get a chance. Yeah, I got to, yeah, Whippy. Some museums have them, large museums, probably, you know, MoMA and all the, you know, different ones, you know, probably have a wing. But we had a, it was like the J.P. Morgan traveled the books for a couple years. I don't know. They're in his, you know, the family collection. So anyway, this has got, you know, it talks a lot about each of the different kinds of letters and how to make them briefly. Now, they just show, you know, 1 or 2 different pictures for each one. They're not giving you full lessons on every single letter. I have books on that, how to do that. But you do get a lot of information in a book like this. It doesn't have to be this particular book, but if you're just learning calligraphy or want something on letter forms, something like this that has different alphabets in it, it's really useful. And then this one came with a workbook and companion. Again, this is a hardback, and I think this set is available now in both, are in soft cover, so it'll be cheaper. This came out in 1997, a first edition with the hardcover, and then the soft cover workbook. I think I've seen it as a set with both soft cover now, but it has the workbook, So it shows you all the letter forms. But again, this is if you've not ever done any calligraphy at all, you want to get something like this. It has all the tools and the different types of pens and nibs and holders and inks and everything that you might need. Okay, I'm not going to get that into. I'm just going to throw down some letters for you guys. I'm not going to do calligraphy lessons here. I'm sure. I've not looked, but I'm positive on YouTube there's somebody doing in-depth calligraphy lettering lessons. So, but this has all different kinds of script identifiers, so you can recognize the different scripts, the different letters, and it's not, to me, this one is not, for a beginner, this one to me has more information. Okay, so there's those two. I'm just going to pick up a couple at a time. This one's the Creative Calligraphy Source Book. A lot of the more modern, when I say modern, I mean in the last 15 to maybe 20 years, 15 especially, 10 to 15 years, you're going to find a lot of calligraphy books on how to use your calligraphy in more craft type projects. I know that calligraphy, now I know that I'm sure the Queen still has her own calligrapher, the Queen's calligrapher and all that. But because of the fonts and the computer print, how you can print out anything, the calligraphy is just not as in demand as either the craft of it or the doing of it or the using of it, since we have computers now. I'm not saying, I don't know, it's hard for me to say which book is my favorite. I do have one that I really like, Whippy. It's coming up after these two. To me, for me, it's the most useful. But if you're just a beginner, I can't say that what's my favorite's not the most useful to a new person just starting out. Okay, and Amazon allows you to look inside books quite a bit now. But if you can go to, just saying. Okay, hang on, guys. My recording stopped. Okay, I'm starting the recording again. So this will be part 2 of Color Book and Calligraphy. It just flashed. So you might have to refresh. Let me type that in.